Well, your LinkedIn page should be actually a landing page. You can open up a humongous number of opportunities by having a routine that actually has compounding effects and gets you outstanding results. Real limitation is not about having the right sales skills, training, know-how, etc. The real limitation is not your budget. The real limitation is not competition. The limitation is your biggest asset that you've got with you, which is your mind. Hi guys, so today we're going to explore a few ways for you to increase sales without breaking the bank. The journey as a founder is not without hurdles, so it's quite important, especially if you've got tight margins, to make sure that you're increasing, growing your clientele, the number of customers that you've got, and without necessarily spending huge amounts of money. And maybe you've thought at some point of hiring a lead agency, right? Maybe they lived up to expectations. From what I hear from a lot of MSPs and IT support service companies, well, it's not always working. Maybe you've also thought of hiring sales directors, right? Maybe business development managers. You've got an envelope of 200 or 300K a year, and again, when you track the performance, it's not living up to expectations, then you have to sack them. But what happens is that because you know you need to do something different, you will still be spending money on sales, and it's a vicious circle, and you don't get where you want. So if today you feel like, hey, there has to be a way for me to increase sales, maybe organically without spending too much money, then yes, you should listen to this video. What I'd say too is, if you don't have any sales enablement in place, if you don't have, let's say, a lot of sales training or sales coaching, right? If you're someone who's wondering, well, I need to be definitely implementing something, well, then, let's look at ways that are inexpensive for you to get you to your destination. So one of the biggest challenges for any person who sells services is to woo customers, is to attract them. And you need, for instance, more eyeballs on what is it that you offer to your clientele, to your customers, right? So one way of doing that, obviously, is to understand that from a natural standpoint, customers are playing hard to get. Prospects are playing hard to get, right? So it's for you to make the buyer journey as simple as possible so that they follow a path that will get them to knock on your door, to inquire more, to be curious about what is it that you have to offer. And it has to incorporate a process to incorporate processes. Unfortunately, there's no magic one. It takes time. But for instance, optimize your LinkedIn profile, right? When we go on your LinkedIn profile, on your company page, are you talking to your ideal client? And it's quite interesting to understand that a lot of MSPs and IT service companies actually don't feel that comfortable with just mentioning one type of ideal client, just because they're sometimes helping small businesses, right? And those small businesses have different needs, and we're not talking about a single industry, we're talking about a set of different companies in different areas. Well, so what do? Well, talk about it then. Say that maybe, and it should be clear from the moment we click on your company page or on your profile, because obviously you are the helm of the company. So depending on what stage you are, in your NSP or IT support service company, your banner should be crystal clear. It needs to say and talk to your market, right? When we scroll down and we look at your About Us page, are you talking about things that you've done, your awards, your past clients, or are you more talking about how your ideal client should be working with you in an ideal world, right? Once again, your prospect lands their eyes on your LinkedIn page, well, your LinkedIn page should be actually a landing page, essentially. So it should basically lead the prospect to your website and to a lead inquiry form, for instance, right? So one of the things that you could simply do is to lead by example. What do I mean by this? Well, some of your prospects, and you're probably well aware of that, will be having smaller issues and it's not looking like you're gonna from the get-go obtain your ideal contract value, which may be like a, a 4 or 3 figure contract a month, right, in terms of installments, in terms of monthly payment. But it is something. So if you've got a business and you know them through networking, maybe the BNIs, maybe the Chamber of Commerce, etc., and they ask you to do a very simple job such as like fixing their laptop, right, installing an antivirus, checking if the router, right, is working well in their infrastructure. Well, although they are small jobs, what you do, and if you do it really well, will go a long way in order to get the trust that you deserve because you're providing excellence. This will be conducive to other contracts that could lead to, obviously, you getting more and more involved with, for instance, the cybersecurity aspect, by offering like assessments and getting them, your customers, certified so that they are reassured that all the solutions that they've got are helping them mitigate any risk, right? So lead by example and do the small jobs in order to gain their trust. At last but not least, we've touched upon it, but content marketing. If you've got content, that is wonderful, right? People will actually land in your DMs, even if you feel that no one is really liking your content, no one is really reposting it. They will be landing in your DM and you will say that, hey, sorry, I see you've been inactive for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Are you okay? Or could you help me with this inquiry? Even 12 months from now, people may land in your DMs. They will say, oh, well, I saw that content. I saw that piece of article that you wrote. I saw that video that you made. It talked to me. I want to work with you. I want to set some time with you, right? It does happen. It's not a miracle. It's just because you've been consistent, right? So do not neglect content. So what I'd say is that, hey, it's good to acquire knowledge, but at some point you absolutely need to act upon it. And remember that the real limitation is not your budget. The real limitation is not competition. The real limitation is not about you having the right sales skills, training, know-how, etc. The limitation is your biggest asset that you've got with you, which is your mind. You can open up a humongous number of opportunities just by having a routine that actually has compounding effects and gets you outstanding results. So keep it up, guys.